I don't agree with all of my characters, but at the same time, I can't not give grace because these are girls like me in the world, young, slim, petite Black women that's trying to like make their name and be remembered and to just do whatever it is that they feel they need to do now. And a lot of them are teenagers. So it's like, okay, these are teenage actions. And, you know, I try to just have a lot of grace with that.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Lovie Simone is an actor. She sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Do you have a typical way that you like to begin your preparation process? Like, do you have a typical way you wrap your arms around this new person?
I usually try to make a playlist for them, like a music playlist. I like to be in the world of that character. Usually not even for characters, but for myself, I'll be like, okay, what kind of vibe am I in today? And then I'll kind of have the music carry that and just be the air to that day for me. So I like a playlist and I'll like make a picture for it. And then I'll like listen to it while I'm getting ready or while I'm walking or driving, just so I can feel the vibe of the character's world. I did it with Keisha. I've done it with all of my characters.
And do you listen to that music then when you are on set between takes and stuff like that too?
There's not much time to listen to music between takes because I like to talk to people and get around and just see things, you know, be in the sun. But usually it'll be on the way to work, or it'll be, if I can get a little moment in, I'll listen to like maybe one song, but not the entire playlist.
Music is so powerful, right? It really is powerful.
Yeah.
But is there ever a time when you're like, all right, this is the vibe, but there's so much more going on with this person, and I don't know where I'm gonna pull this from?
Well, then I'll make a different playlist too. I know for Keisha, I have her regular life playlist, but then I also have like her track playlist, because I feel like when she's in her regular life, she's going through so many emotions, but when she's like in that go-getter, take the emotions out of everything, it's a completely different vibe. But then on top of another playlist, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've gotten to that point just yet where it's been hard for me to do something also, because a lot of the times with the roles that I'm into, they are asking for my fresh hot take on what it is to be like a young Black girl going through something like this.
Yeah.
Be it Selah and The Spades or Keisha, they want to see what it looks like on somebody that looks like me. And for me, I do have that experience as far as like, you know, trauma or whatever it may be. I might not know exactly what they went through, but I know the point B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you talk about how when you were a kid, you used to, for fun, find monologues and stuff and actually like play with emotions in your room.
Yes.
Like make a series of imaginary situations, right? Tell me if this is wrong.
Some imaginary, some completely, I'm using an entire monologue from like Google. I was like, okay, monologues for young adult teenagers. I would literally just go on my little rants. And if I didn't memorize anything at the time, but I was by myself and I was like in the middle of it, I'll just keep it going. But that's where I learned how to cry on command in my room, like doing stuff like that.
And just like exploring emotions, various emotions, and being able to just let them flow out. When you are not afraid to let that stuff come out of you, it must help when you have to do it.
Yeah, and I don't even look at it as like, oh, like people are afraid of, more so than it's like, for me in my acting, I act to convince myself. So if I can convince myself, everyone in the room is convinced. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to convince everybody. I'm trying to make myself believe that I'm actually feeling something. So when I do go and dip off to listen to that one song or two, or like have that moment, it's really just trying to like convince me that it's happening, so that there's no like blip in the illusion building or creating process.
Do you ever find that you need like when you have to get emotional on set, do you need special time away, or does this kind of stuff come easy?
Sometimes I feel like a psycho because I don't need too much time. And like after like big crying scenes, I'll be like, okay, yeah, so what's up? And then everyone's like, whoa. Because usually like I have seen actors, you know, need that time, or like if they have a big scene that day, they'll have to like dip off or whatever. But I think I'm very good at compartmentalizing, which is why I felt like I'm meant for this craft, because I don't think it's too exhausting on me, like the actual acting of itself. Maybe the press stuff and maybe the running around might be a lot, but as far as like that part, it's so fun to me to just be able to turn off, turn on, and just like go.
And what do you think that is? Do you think you were born with that? Or do you think you developed that somehow?
I think I developed that in my room.
In the bedroom,
I think I developed that in my room because it was really just like, that's where I feel like I learned like body like recognition and like how like certain parts of your body remembers certain things. And so for me, it's like, like I do have 2 trigger songs. So if I play those songs, in 5 seconds, I'm crying.
You're gone.
Yeah, like in 5 seconds, I'm crying. Or like I have things that I'll think about and I'll be on set and I'll 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm good. Go. Roll. You know, so it'll be like that.
That's funny.
You talk about the 4 years on Greenleaf as like your college.
Yeah.
And a big learning thing happened in each of those years, the way you talk about it, in terms of acting.
Yeah.
And in the way you talk about it, it sounds like that experience is still paying dividends now for you in that way.
It is.
And can you talk a little bit about that? Like when you did have that job, when you just went into that job, you may have been, you know, exploring all this stuff like you're talking about, but you didn't have the experiences yet.
Yeah, no.
To put this into play.
Yeah, that was really fun for me because I also was younger then, so it wasn't like too much expected out of me. If anything, people were looking at me like, okay, she's young in the industry. This is like, we need to pour into her, especially with the people I was working with at the time, like Lynn Whitfield, Keith David, all of these people, they were, I feel like, natural teachers. So it was nice to walk into a space with natural teachers who just took the time with you. I didn't feel like I was rushed or forced to like go and do anything faster than my experience would let me. So it was nice to start there and to like be there and to still be having those like tools that I'm using today. I remember one time Keith David told me, and it was so random. We were just sitting at the family table waiting for the camera to be turned on, maybe like just in between setups. And Keith was like, yeah, you know, the thing about acting is that it's not acting, it's reacting. And ever since he said that, like, it was probably small to him, but it was big to me. I was like, that makes so much sense because I'm literally just reacting all the time. So if I'm good with my reactions and that like second nature kind of vibe, then okay, people will believe the illusion more. And so I could like fall deeper into that. And that was just on a regular, Tuesday, Thursday, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So it's nice to like work with such legends in the industry and to just
at a young age.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and to use that not just for like, oh yeah, like I'm here and no, I wasn't there at all. It's like, okay, please allow me to get there, you know. So it was very nice, and I look up to them still, and still talk to, you know, Lamont every now and then, like all the cast. Like we were a big family. It was like family.
Were you loving that character? Were you, if it went on and on, would you be loving it?
I think it would depend on how Zora's life would have went. Sometimes I think as an actor, you know when it's time to be done with a story.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels about right to wrap it up. Yeah. I do think after everything in Greenleaf with Zora and what she went through, it was that time to wrap it up. But I wouldn't have been upset if it would have went on, because I also, as an actress, love world building and I love to see where people end up. So I would love to know where Zora ended up, you know, 10 years down the road, and if, you know, what lessons she's learned and how she applied it in life. But it was fun to play the her that wasn't really like learning all of the lessons, but, you know, like taking life and just not, I don't like characters that are too clean either. So a lot of my characters are very scandalous and are very like, oh, well, why did she do that? You know? So for me, I did love that about her too.
And Selah is another character that feels like looking and dealing with you right now, that's a different kind of person.
It is a different kind of person. It is a different kind of person. Selah's really intense. I mean, I share similarities with her. She showed me that I might struggle with like control issues, but that's maybe where we're gonna like cap it at. I don't think I would manipulate people in the way that Selah manipulates people.
Yeah.
But it was fun to play that because it's also, I like when I don't agree with all of my character. I like when I'm like, whoa, she's really wrong for that. Because it, as an actor, then it's like my responsibility to figure out and justify all of these like feelings that have to be validated because they're valid and that they help push the story.
But what do you do when you can't love the person? Do you know what I mean? Because of what they're doing.
Even in real life, I think there is space to love anyone, even with all of the crap that they have going on. Usually our best friends are the people that have seen like the worst parts of ourselves like over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So for me, it's like, okay, I don't agree with all of my characters, but at the same time, I can't not give grace because these are girls like me in the world, young, slim, petite Black women that's trying to like make their name and be remembered and to just do whatever it is that they feel they need to do now. And a lot of them are teenagers. So it's like, okay, these are teenage actions. And, you know, I try to just have a lot of grace with that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the teenagers are going through the first time for everything.
Their brain's not fully formed.
It's not fully formed. It's not fully formed. And it's also like the most aggressive that like women are in their lives as far as like just vocalizing what they want. I feel like after their teenage years, they start to suppress things in themselves. And so I do love playing like rambunctious teenagers who just say what's on their mind and do whatever they want to do. I love that kind of teenager because she drives the story for me.
Yeah. Were you getting an idea, or tell me when you were getting an idea of what works best for you in terms of a situation, an environment, a director? Like, were you starting to put this together like, oh, this situation, because of these particular things, oh, my best came out?
I will say, and it sounds so shallow, but it's not, having Black hair and makeup teams really does it, because I didn't realize how much stress that takes off of you to be able to go into a trailer and just to relax. It's like not to think about anything else and to have other people help with the illusion, you know, that you're trying to build and stuff. So it's like, if I'm worried that, you know, my hair is kind of loose in the back because they couldn't really get a grip on it, and now I'm worried about my image, and then my image is going to make me act another way. So it's like all of these things. It's just that safe environment, I feel like. And a lot of the times when I do go on sets and I do go into the hair and makeup trailer, that's where I would find, you know, the people that kind of bring me down and like calm me and stuff like that. It's like, yes, there is a lot going on, but this is a team project. We're here all for the same purpose. And so that definitely helps me a lot.
And you're making me think how important it is just to, in other aspects, for other people, how much that kind of thing affects the work.
It affects the work.
Because you're an actor, your instrument is yourself.
My entire being.
Yeah. And so if you're comfortable, you're able to be your best.
Yes. I used to joke around a lot, and I was like, I just want to feel how white men feel on set. You know, I just want to feel like that. I want everyone and everything to just be working towards my comfort. Yeah. So when I do have like Black people, or like people that know Black skin and Black hair, it's like, woosah. Now I'm comfortable. Now you get me. Now I feel a little more in myself. And the more I feel in myself, the more I can give afterwards.
And it feels like people got this now, right?
Yeah.
Like we understand this now, because I've heard this a lot, but it's only been recently.
Yeah. It's been a while. I do still think I can't say that it's completely gone, because I have experienced, you know, sets recently where it's like not the same, but I will say it's getting better. And I, as an actress, do appreciate when I encounter people that don't know like black hair and black makeup and stuff like that. When I can, help teach them, and when I feel heard and listened to. So even if they're not somebody who knows, like if I can be like, hey, can I do my lip liner? Or hey, can you just like put red under because for my undertones this, and they'll be like, oh, great. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to use that. That's when it's like, okay, I'm a little more comfortable in this space now. And I'm feeling like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. You kind of became an expert on makeup as a youth. Right?
Yeah, I did.
So it's not hard.
I had a makeup channel. I had a YouTube channel. I did it, all that.
It's not hard for you to school some people.
It's not too hard. And with like what I know with makeup from YouTube University and from what other makeup artists like that I adore have told me, like I feel like I'm like, okay, I know my face and I know how to explain in words to people like what it is that I want, which is also very helpful.
This is something that staying with this topic for a second, because I've never actually asked this. It sounds like then when things are rapid fire and the director says, I want last looks to stay away or whatever, or, we're going, like you probably are like, no, bring them on.
It depends. Yeah. But yeah, that can be daunting if there is like not too many people experienced with black hair and makeup, because a lot of the times
they'll be like, it's fine, let's go.
Yeah, they're fine with it. And then that's when you see like, oh, this is how it goes. This is why in America, like black kids who are in white private schools, like their hair won't look the same as like when they're with their black counterparts and stuff like that, because I feel like we see it, and I feel like white people or non-black people have yet to see the subtle micro changes in like edges, hair, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm gonna need someone who sees me.
Yeah.
And if I've seen, then I can feel seen. But that's why I think like communication is like a very big thing for me. Like I pride myself on not letting things slide. I like to be a very proud advocate and loud advocate for Lovie. I think she deserves like the utmost respect. And so before I even go to like a set or something, I'll make sure, like suss out the scene. Like who's going to be doing hair? Who does makeup? Can I see their work? That vibe.
Is there anything else that you suss out like that on a set? Is there anything else important to you like that in terms of comfort?
It's just hair and makeup usually. Usually it's just hair and makeup. I'm like, okay, am I going to be good? I got everything else. Yeah, I'm covered, but do you guys got me though?
Yeah, because you can't do your own.
I can't do my own.
At this time that we're talking about here, when things were starting to really happen for you, what was your audition situation like? Were you starting to hit the sweet spot for laying down auditions for yourself, or were you getting frustrated with it? What was that like?
For me, I never got upset with auditions because I don't have to be a part of everything. I don't have to do everything. I love importance over relevance. So for me, it's like, I don't want to attach to just anything just because it's like gonna be a big hit or it's gonna whatever it is, whatever that may be. So for me, I love every audition that I accept. So auditioning, the process is amazing for me. Like I love every audition that I've ever, like I want every audition I go after. Like I really, really, really want it. It's not like,
So that means there's some of them you don't even do.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of auditions.
You don't do a lot.
Yeah, like I have very good discernment, I would say. Like I pick my projects. I don't let them pick me just because like, I don't know. I don't like to have a scarcity mindset as well. So I'm like, okay, quality over quantity. That's cool.
Yeah.
So for me, I never really get upset with auditions. I love the process. I still love auditioning.
Is there ever a time when your team is telling you, you must go for this, and something in you is saying, I don't want that?
There isn't. There isn't.
So that means you got a good team.
Yeah,
that is in line with Lovie.
Yeah, like they know me. My mom's my manager, so she really knows me. She really knows me. She like knows me through and through. Yeah, like if she made me or something.
Yeah.
So my mom is my manager, and then I've had my agent since I started acting. So since she's known the 9-year-old Lovie and the 26-year-old Lovie. So
that makes sense then.
Yeah,
okay.
so they kind of know what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And sometimes they'll say, hey, there's this project, we think it's gonna, have a lot of buzz and stuff like that. But if you don't want to, we don't even care because we trust you. So it's like, it is a trust in me as well that like, I'm gonna do what I want to do because I have to be on these sets every day and just be existing as this person every day. And so they understand that.
Are you reading a lot of scripts?
I don't read a lot of scripts. I don't read a lot of scripts. I read a lot of books, but I don't read a lot of scripts.
You're an avid reader.
Yes.
Let's not make people not
think I'm not
confused.
Yeah. I'm reading. I read a lot. That's why with Forever, I was just so excited because the bookworm in me was like, as a bookie, I feel like you read a book and you're like daydreaming about the book and you're like, oh, I just want to part. Like if I could just like be in there. Yeah. And so for me, like with that book and Forever, it's like, oh my God, the fact that I'm gonna be in there like as this is kind of crazy to me because that's like all the freedom that you want as a bookworm. Like, okay, like if I just have a little control in like what the story looks like. So the fact that I was like the lead was kind of crazy to me.
Do you ever think, like, because you just said that, do you think about other people who dream of this character because they read the book and now you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be this personification of this character for everybody?
I think about that a lot, especially because the way Mara wrote it, I'm kind of the boy in the book. Like I'm not Catherine in the book. So it's kind of a little different to be like, okay, I'm going to be playing the guy. Okay, cool. How was he perceived in the book? And just like knowing everything that happened there, it is pretty cool. It is also pretty cool because it's like, okay, Lovie, of course this is going to be it. Like, of course you're going to have to play the opposite character and then like really have to tie in and hone in on all of these character traits and stuff like that, but then make it modern and then make it LA and then make it Black and all of these things. So it's very fun to do as an actress when you have all of those things in your face, because when you just have like one like vague, sentence, it's not the same. Is
it based on one book as a series? So they expanded it kind of.
Yeah, it's based on one book. So the series kind of talks about, it kind of goes with what happens in the book. It's not the same like thing word for word because it is a reimagination, but all of like the big milestones in the book that's hit, the show kind of covers that.
That's nice to do that with a book because usually what you do with a book when you're making it into a movie is you're cutting out so much and now you're able to expand it. Yeah. That's like the proper way to do it. Take a book and make it a series. Right?
Yeah.
That just makes much more sense.
It does.
What I'm sure they were worried about, are these two people going to have chemistry? Was there an intense chemistry situation going on, or I mean, chemistry reads?
Okay, so there were chemistry reads. What's crazy about the chemistry, there were 2 chemistry reads in LA. So I had to fly out for these chemistry reads. And I remember for the first chemistry read, I got on the plane and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, wait a second, I don't have the window seat? What? I don't have the window seat? I'm so upset. And because I love a window seat, I love just leaning my head there. I could fall asleep on a plane. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy has a window seat. Okay, cool. And then I get off the plane and I'm like, oh my God, what the frick? Why is this guy going to the same hotel as me? And then I'm like, wait a second. He kind of looks like the archetype that I'm reading with. Hold on, who is this? And it was Michael.
Oh my God.
And we were like sitting on the plane, headphones on, didn't speak to each other, anything, that whole thing on the way to the first chemistry read. We didn't even read with each other the first chemistry read. We were just on the plane. And so I was like, who's this guy that has a window seat? That's all I knew. And so during the second chemistry read, we were, I wasn't on the plane with him this time, but I was sitting out front of the hotel waiting for my Uber Eats, and he was coming in and he was like, hey, you're the girl from the plane you read last. And I was like, yeah. do you want to go over sides? And he was like, I was going to ask you that. And so we went over sides in like the hotel room, and it was just like, we were like hanging out and like meeting for the first time. And it was so cool. And after that, I just was like rooting for him. So the second chemistry read comes, and we have this chemistry now, like, because we kind of know each other, but we kind of don't. So it kind of matches Keisha and Justin's energy. Like they met and they're like, you know, reconciling after all these years. And so when we booked it was just really funny. Like, wow, this is crazy, because we wanted to talk. But then in the first episode, Regina King was like, hey, maybe not talk too much or not like know each other too much, like, because, you know, your characters are coming from a place of like not seeing each other for a long time. So in real life, it was like Keisha and Justin, it was like, I know you.
That's so cool.
Bye. But I want to speak to you, but I can't.
Yeah.
Like, you're around, but, and then when we finally had that first meeting scene at the party, it felt like that scene. That's exactly so the way it looks.
Yeah. Thank God I'm assuming that you like him as a person, right?
He was like a little brother. Like before we started filming, like we would be on the phone for like 2-3 hours, because this was like his first big project. And I'm not new in the industry, but this is my first leading role. So this was something that was really big for the both of us, like very life-changing for the both of us. And so we would have like conversations, and he would call me like freaking out, like, Lovie, what is going on? Like, and he's so cool. And so it's kind of like a little brother, big sister role, like little brother, slightly older, but still little sister, you know?
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do if have you ever had a situation where you don't particularly bond with the person?
You act your butt off. you act your butt off.
Didn't even get the sentence
You
out.
act your butt off. You act your butt off, because honestly, you're not. And I'm so happy and grateful that I typically like the people I work with, but I do think about the day I work with someone I'm not too fond of. And for me, it's really just to be professional. It's just to get the job done. And it's honestly, I don't know. I don't think in life we would get along with everyone. So it would make sense that you wouldn't get along with everyone you work with.
Right.
So really just like, I feel like the only thing that's helping that situation is just having the same goal in that moment, just to do it, get it done, and hope that it's a beautiful piece. Yeah.
What are traits of a director that work well for you?
There would be two traits, because there are two directors that I'm thinking of specifically. There's Tyresha Poe, who I worked with on Selah and The Spades, and then there's Regina King, who I worked with on Forever. I think they're my favorite directors, as well as Anthony Hemingway. Oh my God, I've worked with so many amazing directors, but I feel with those three specifically, they have this groundedness that's just in them, that just makes it easy for them to make me empathize with my character. They'll like put me in situations to like really sympathize and really just get there. And it's easy when I can do that. And for Regina, that for her was being an actress before being a director. So like directors who know the craft that I'm coming from, that's amazing. That's like, okay, you can really speak to me and we can communicate on that level. But if they're not like Tyresha Poe or Anthony Hemingway, it's just like they've seen life, they've been there, they've seen the full range of it. They've been around so many people, and they are just wanting to tell a story. So people that are true storytellers and people that have done what I've done in the past, I feel like are the two big things for me. That's like, okay, you got my respect, you got the best work out of me, you get it all.
Because you are an avid reader, and a lot of people in your generation, unfortunately, are not avid readers. I want to say it like this, because I just know this is true. Don't you think that because you love words, it helps you so much in what you do?
Yeah, it does. It does, because I not only love words, I love the weight of each word. So it's like the weight of them in moments are just like, no one knows how heavy it is until you as an actor put them in a scenario like that's like, okay, this is exactly how heavy this word is. This is exactly how heavy like a brief moment was. Like there's so many things like in books, what I love about books, and there's a book, Nurse Ratched, that was a book, and I didn't read that book yet, but after watching the series, it's like, to be able to see all the pauses and the breaks and the thoughts that you would see in the book, it's like it really throws you into the human life a bit more than you normally would. You know, you're assessing situations and looking at situations so much deeper than you normally would after like reading books and stuff. So, you know, like watching her walk down the hall, I'm like, okay, she's not saying anything, but I know in the book her heart is racing and she's feeling like her hands are sweating and she's feeling like this and this. And there's so many things. It's like, it makes you attached to humanity a bit more. And so that's why I love reading and I love acting, is because like they help me to, when I go in rooms, that like I can position my body so that nobody feels uncomfortable, or I can speak to somebody and speak to anybody and have everyone feel accepted and seen and heard and all of these things. So that's what acting does for me.
That's beautiful. Are you sensitive to energy?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I'm very sensitive to energy. I feel a lot of people's like discomforts and stuff. So for me, I do try, like when I do walk into a room, it is very important that everyone is comfortable. That's why when I'm not made comfortable, I feel a kind of way, because I would never put anyone in that position. So a lot of the times, you know, in conversations, like I do pick up on a lot more than a typical person. And sometimes it's a lot of work to have to deal with, because I just wish that I could just chill out sometimes. But I feel like I'm thinking about my thoughts and I'm thinking about the other person's thoughts and how they would receive that. And I'm thinking about why that person is so quiet over there. Did I do something, or are they like that? You know, so I'm just always thinking about these human interactions that I'm going through, and it's a lot of them. So it's bittersweet. It's cool when it's cool. It's cool when it's cool.
And when it's a burden, it's a huge burden.
When it's a burden, it's anxiety, stop.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I'm sort of like that, but my wife keeps saying like, you think you're right about that person and you don't even know if you are.
I also think that. I'm like that as well. Sometimes I'm like, I'm so dead set on what I think is the way. And that's why I love acting, is because it's like, okay, ask more questions and let's see. And then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So it's nice to ask questions, but it's also cool to like, you know some things from time to time. Not everything, but.
I mean, don't you think this helps you as an actor, having that kind of sensitivity?
I definitely think it's helpful. I can really call on experiences and feelings that I've felt and been through before to just really display, you know? So I know I'll have like really sad moments where I'll be like crying in my room, just devastated. And I'll stop crying for a second and I'll be like, this will be useful later. This right here. And then I'll go into the mirror and I'll be like, what does this look like? Okay, cool. And then it kind of just stops the crying, because I'm now thinking about work.
That's what the actor has, right?
You know, oh my God, this is beautiful.
There's nothing that could happen to you that you can't use.
Nothing.
Right?
Everything is useful. Literally everything is useful.
Everything. It doesn't matter what happens.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, especially bad things. Especially
bad things in particular. We're like, whoa, I'm going to make a mess out of that one later. I'm going to show the world what exactly I went through. But
yeah. Can you talk about anything about what you're doing now? Or if you can't, maybe you could cryptically talk about some things that you want to do or are hoping to do, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, currently I'm working on a project in Kentucky. I'm really excited about this project. She's very different from Keisha. Like, I love range. I love range. I love range. This is the first time not the first time, but one of the first times I'm not playing a teenager. So that's just different on that aspect of things. And then another fun fact, I can't say anything about the movie, but I do put blood, sweat, and tears into my project during this project already. And we kind of just started filming. I lost a nail. Oh. Like it ripped off. It ripped off. And I remember the director was like, Lovie, like we could stop right now. Like, what do you need? And I was like, nope, you've got the right girl. Just give me a Band-Aid and let's go. And so, I'm very committed to my projects. And I'm really excited to see what people are going to see soon.
That's
with this
amazing.
one. We got the shot. Just know, the nail came off. We got the shot. That's all that matters.
Boom.
We got the shot. Not a shot, but the shot.
Lovie Simone, will you come back on the show one day?
Yes, I will.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.